5 ways to 5x your business in the next 90 days or less. And I can guarantee no matter where you are in your business or what you're struggling with, there's going to be something brand new and there's going to be something different and there's going to be something that's going to work for you. You just need to look for it. And the reason I love doing this video and talking about this approach is quite simply because a lot of the stuff you're watching out there and a lot of the stuff that you're being told to do, it's often transformational change. People want you to completely pivot or adjust your business. They want you to go to a new platform. But in reality, the biggest change often comes from a series of small marginal gains, i.e. changing one thing every single day. And the example I really like to use for this is the British cycling team and the Tour de France. Now, you don't have to be a fan of British cycling to appreciate what I'm about to say, but I happen to love the sport. I think it's a fantastic spectacle. I think it's one of the pivots of human performance and achievement. But that's another story for another time. What I really got from this was the story of the British cycling team. And I'll demonstrate what I mean. And by the way, here's how we will do this. We will start you at 5 leads, a 10% close rate. Obviously, you can't cut people in half, so that's 0 clients. Let's imagine you're selling at 5,000. So because you've got 0 clients, your revenue is going to be 0. We'll do the math on this and we'll replace all of these to move it up. So just for the purpose of this video, just imagine you're there. You might be slightly less, you might be a lot more, and you can just do the math in your case. But back to the case in point. The case in point is the British cycling team. So over 100 years, until very recently, we're talking the last 10, 15 years, they had won 0 Tour de France's in 100 years. They were so bad, the actual bike manufacturers didn't want the British cycling team to use their frames on the TV because it would have negative connotations for the use of their equipment. It would show the public that their equipment wasn't very good. That's how bad the British cycling team was. But then a gentleman called David Brailsford came in and implemented his law of marginal gains. And what does that mean? He didn't try and change everything at once and transform everything at once. He implemented a series of small changes, which he called marginal gains. He would adjust the tread on the tyres. He would adjust the body temperature of the muscles for warming up. He would adjust the aerodynamics of the bike. He would adjust the seat position. He would even do small things like bring round France an individual mattress for each individual cyclist. So in the hotel, they loaded in the mattress and they had a mattress ready, so they slept a few more minutes every single night. He would get them to use breathe right strips, which are the strips to open up your nose, so that they could breathe more oxygen. And what's the science behind this? You might be thinking that sounds like, you know, these are not big changes. Well, the math says from the books that if you improve 1% every day, you can become 37 times better any skill. So in this video, there's going to be one of them that you can use. And the end result was, got the math here, from 2003 to 2013, the British cycling team won 66 gold medals at the Olympics compared to basically nothing. And they won 5 Tour de France's with this process of marginal gains. All right, so let's jump into number 1. Here is what I like to call Maslow's hierarchy of leads, as opposed to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And in this number 1, we'll show you how to find different lead sources that are going to allow you to incrementally change and transform how many leads you have so you have a consistent lead flow. And I call this Maslow's hierarchy of leads. Why do I call it Maslow's hierarchy of leads? Because just like an organism, just like a human being, a business is a complex system of inputs and outputs. It needs certain things. Let me explain. Anyone that doesn't know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it says in order to reach the highest level of fulfillment, you've got a triangle here like this, right? And at the top, you've got here self-actualization. And at the bottom here, you've got survival. And then you've got a whole series of stages you move up in order to move from survival here to self-actualization here. And that's not very different from a business. a lot of people are still in survival, they're getting going, and they want to get to the point where they feel relaxed, where they feel good, when they've got consistent lead flow, where they're able to build a sustainable generational wealth. That's my motivation. Your motivation might be different. You might want to be going for an exit and all that good stuff. But the point being, you've got to move from survival up until the self-actualization so that you can relax, so that you can feel good about your business. Because there's one thing that holds people back a lot, and that is this feeling of needing a client. When you don't need a client and when you can just detach yourself from it, there's nothing better from that. So that's why I like to look at the business from this perspective. And there's many ways to grow a business. There's many ways to grow from survival to self-actualization. But the problem is this. The problem that a lot of people are doing is they're stuck down here in terms of the activities they're doing. So the bottom level of survival is things like tech, AI, websites, content redistribution. The RD stands for redistribution. The majority of people that I speak to on a daily basis, and if this is you, that's definitely going to apply to you, but if not, it's going to be something else on the next stage. They're stuck at that bottom stage. And look, that work is $5, $10 an hour work. It's not difficult work, but it is time-consuming work, because every time we have to set aside 15 minutes to try and figure out this and redistribute the content, it's not difficult work, but it takes away the time from where we should be spending on lead generation and strategic alliances. That's also an essay. This is self-actualization here when it comes to Maslow, but strategic alliances are the most powerful way to grow the business. Now go to that. But the first thing is, all your time when you're starting to grow the business should be focused on lead generation. But lead generation isn't the top, because I'll explain why. Every single time you're doing the tech, figuring the tech out, working out AI, figuring out the website, doing the distribution of content, it's taking the skills away from lead generation and communication. Those are the two middle layers. What are the two middle layers? Lead generation and communication. Well, look, the most powerful way you have to communicate with your market is your mouth and your language, your ability to communicate and put across ideas, concepts, frameworks dictates how well you are able to grow a business, how well people perceive you to be valuable. So if your time is spent on all the tech stuff you can outsource and quite frankly get rid of, instead of becoming a better communicator, a better presenter, better at communicating your value so that people perceive you as valuable, because by the way, it's never anybody else's fault that they don't perceive you as valuable, apart from you or me in this case, it's our language. So I always say, target that middle point to get going and become better at your communication. And focus on lead generation as a middle point. But why do you not focus on lead generation in the middle sense as the top point? Because everyone says the number one thing you should do in lead generation. Quite simply, when I talk about here, lead generation in the middle, it's very different to strategic alliances. The lead generation I'm talking about in the middle is what most people are talking about on LinkedIn or B2B or Instagram or whatever business you've got. They'll be like, the numbers vary depending on platform, depending on coach, but they're always about the same thing, right? Send 100 connects per week on LinkedIn or Instagram. They say things like, play the numbers. They say, hope you hit the right person at the right time wanting to buy what you're offering. But the reality is only 3% of any given market is urgent. What do I mean by urgent? Ready to buy your stuff right now. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you sent a message on any of these platforms and someone's like, oh, I can't believe you've sent me this. Like, I don't even need to know anymore. Just send me a link to pay. I'm going to pay right now. Of course it doesn't happen, because only 3% of a market is urgent. And they're just telling you to build a business upon hope. That's not a way to build a business. So yes, it's important to be able to communicate through content. It's really important to be able to communicate through content and do the lead generation. That's really, really important. But it's ultimately a business built on hope, because the math is against you, the statistics are against you. So you should do that, but that's not the highest level of fulfillment in the business. That's what's not going to get the business to the highest level. So absolutely do that and you'll be able to bring in leads. What is the best way, the top of the pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of leads, to quickly, efficiently, effectively get in front of qualified people who see you as an authority and want to buy your stuff, who are already interested in buying what you're selling, and to do it so you don't have to chase these individuals and play the numbers game that all these coaches don't have any imagination to look beyond it, because that's all they do, right? The answer is strategic alliances. What do I mean by strategic alliances? Remember, implement one thing in this 5 steps and you will grow your business. A strategic alliance is targeting somebody that sells to the same audience as you, but sells something different and already has the trust of that audience and who has already taken the time, focus and energy to develop that trust, so you haven't. Then you go on and they introduce you to their audience, and fantastic. So let's say you go on a leadership podcast or a leadership show, or you go on some sort of platform where somebody speaks to a load of people that are interested in leadership and has their trust, and they introduce you. That is how to build the business. Nobody does it because it takes 2 or 3 months as opposed to 2 or 3 weeks in the middle, because you've got to schedule the show, you've got to build up the authority to be welcomed on the show. But once you do it, you grow a lot quicker. So if you can build these strategic alliances here, that is the most powerful way to grow the business. And if you focus on that. So going back to our numbers, we're going to cross out 5 and you will now have 10 leads. If you're starting, you can double the leads. So wherever you are, start on leads. And by the way, leads is defined as somebody on a call. Leads is the most undefined word in vocabulary when it comes to all these coaches online. A lead is not someone that responds to a message. A lead is someone that gets on a call, right? So let's say you've got 10 leads now and you close at 10%. So now you've got 1 client, you sell at 5K. So instead of 0, you've now got 5,000. Fantastic. And you're now ready to move on to stage 2. What is the stage 2 you can do in terms of 5 things that 5x your business? So just jumping in here with a different shirt on, we're going to actually cover numbers 2 to 5 in a separate video. You're going to see it appear here any moment. We're going to start off by covering frameworks. Then we're going to talk you through the other steps that are going to allow you to 5x your business. See you on the next video. Click here. And I'm back in the red shirt, by the way. Have an awesome day.